What's up, Summoners? My name is Nathan Ng and I'll be your host for this video. As promised, we're here to deliver the full list of upcoming changes for patch 11.17. I hope you guys are as excited as I am because we have system changes as well as major champion changes coming up, so be sure to hit that sub button and let's get into the content. Let's start with the exciting stuff, the skins. Remember the skins we voted on earlier this year? Well, we've got another set of them coming up, and that's Crime City Nightmare. Akali, Shaco, Darius, Twist of Fate, and Zara don new clothing, representing Runeterra's dangerous nightlife. Aside from the Dark Criminals joining us next patch, we also have Divine Phoenix and Nivea, Graceful Phoenix Seraphine, and Brave Phoenix Zaya. Check these skins out as they look super amazing. Next are the balance changes. Let's start with the system nerfs. Divine Center has been a thorn in players' sides. After champions like Ezreal and Wukong showed just how broken this item was, it was subsequently nerfed. It wasn't enough though, and a lot of champions that use it continue to overperform. Next patch, the AD will be lowered from 40 to 35. It's a decent nerf, that's 175 gold in stats lost. Next, we got Serpent's Fang, which has unfortunately become a staple second purchase for AD Assassins default. I say unfortunate because this item was designed to be situational. Usually there will be at least one shield of the enemy team that you can build for, but a single shield shouldn't always merit an adaptive purchase. Serpent's Fang low purchase cost makes it easy for snowballing assassins. Next patch, the lethality is going down from 18 to 12. It'll still be cheap, but players will specifically want to build it for the bonus shield damage. By the way, if you're struggling with assassins or any matchups in the league, check out ProGuides.com. There are plenty of coaches who can help you out just by teaching you some strategies as well as optimizations that you can make. We also feature courses by pros like Aframu and Core JJ, so take a look. Finally, we have a nerf to Wit's End. The scaling on the item is being slowed down significantly. At the moment, the on-hit damage scales linearly from 15 to 80 damage based on level. Next patch, it'll deal a flat 15 damage from levels 1 to 8 and begin scaling linearly from 25 to 80 damage starting at level 9. This means that the power spike from purchasing the item, specifically early on, is gonna be so much smaller than before. A bot laner like Ashe especially will feel this hit, as playing in a dual lane obviously means that it'll take longer to level up. Plenty of champions, notably the ones with high attack speed, are abusing this item, and as a result, it's receiving some changes next patch. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some system buffs. Continuing with some changes, we have Hullbreaker. It's receiving a simple but powerful buff. The health is going up from 300 to 400. I don't have much to say, the item will be a little bit better. Players that build it will be a little bit more durable, and that benefits both tanks as well as fighters in direct combat, as well as trying to escape ganks. Next, Yumi's Ghostblade is receiving a variety of buffs. The price is going down from 3,000 to 2,900. In addition, the build path's pickaxe is being replaced with the Called Fields Warhammer. What a throwback, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, the item will receive 15 ability haste. It's basically back to how it was before the item's rework, and players will have more incentive to build it. The last system buffs is to the Rune Fleet footwork. Its healing is being increased from 3 to 60 plus 30% bonus AD and 20% AP to 10 to 100 plus 40% AD and 30% AP. However, the minion modification is changing from 100% for melee champions to 20%, and for ranged champions that value is going down from 20% to 10%. Although you get slightly less free sustain than before, the amount that you get in the early game is nearly the same. In the late game, however, the healing during teamfights is up significantly. That covers the system, so let's go ahead and talk about the champion balance, beginning with the top lane. Ever since her rework, Irelia has been an issue. Inarguably strong, Irelia's ban rates are at an all-time high this season. 43% in high elo is gigantic. Everybody wants to play or ban her, and as a result, Riot is taking the next steps to tone her down. Her Q's healing is going down from 12 to 20% AD to 8 to 16% AD. While it may not seem like the biggest nerf, targeting her sustain trims away at some excessive power. Oh lord, we have some massive gangplank changes coming up as well. He's receiving some adjustments, but I honestly can't help but feel like they're an overall buff. First, his passive movement speed bonus will be reduced from 30% to 15 to 30% based on level. Also, his Q will count as a ranged basic attack. In spite of all these small nerfs, his E is receiving a huge buff. His powdered cakes will benefit from critical strike at 125% effectiveness. More damage means that we're in danger out on Summoner's Rift, and he's coming for that booty. Hopefully not literally. If that wasn't enough, we're throwing it back, and he's gonna be getting 5 barrels again. Rather than capping at 3 barrels, the maximum is going up from 3 to 5 barrels based on ability level. The recharge time is going down from 18 to 10 seconds to 18 to 14 seconds, but it's definitely going to be worth it. This is a huge quality of life buff for Gangplank players, as they won't have to be nearly as careful about their barrel usage. Next is Teemo. He continues to underperform in high elo. It's a tough balancing situation, and honestly, I don't really want them to buff him, because I honestly hate this character. If he's too strong, the fact is that he's ranged and it makes him difficult as well as frustrating to fight. A little bit too weak and he ends up with a low 48% win rate like he currently holds. Next patch, he's receiving a small buff to his E that should help him out in combat and should also make his poke a little bit more potent than before. The flat damage on hit is going up from 11 to 55 to 14 to 58. 3 more per attack is really going to add up, especially in the early game. And that's it for the top lane, so let's go ahead and talk about the jungle changes next. Graves is beginning to pop off pretty hard after some buffs. Considering the fact that he was underperforming right before he received said buffs, Riot is taking it slow while nerfing him. Next patch, his Q's mana cost is going up from 60 to 80. While this won't hinder him so much in the late game, it will force players to play more conservatively early on. This especially weakens Graves' power in his solo lane. Although he's much more popular in the jungle, he's beginning to see a noticeable amount of play in the mid lane and a little bit in the top lane as well. We don't need more flex pick chaos, so Riot is acting quickly to tone it down. Someone on the balance team has been getting one-shot non-stop by Blue Kayn, and they've had enough, and so have I, and so have you. Blue Kayn's passive magic damage is going down from 12 to 44% to 8 to 30%. This is a gigantic nerf to his burst damage, and it looks like players will have to stick to playing Rost. Viego is problematic for a variety of reasons, and he also holds a top ban rate as a result. Riot plans to address some of the things that make Viego extremely difficult and frustrating to play against. First, his auto attack range is going down from 225 to 200. Though I don't really agree with quality of life nerfs and I'd rather them kind of just nerf the numbers, this is gonna suck a little bit. This alone is a huge change as it changes how he combos, and obviously playing him will feel a lot worse. Like I mentioned, I don't think champions should feel worse to play, I just think that they should feel weaker, or at least more balanced if it works like intended. His passive is also getting nerfed. The healing from taking a body is going down from 8% plus 2.5% of his bonus AD, 1.25% of AP, and 2.5% of his bonus attack speed to 3% plus 3% of his bonus AD, 2% AP, and 5% attack speed. Essentially, his base healing is down while the scaling is up. The significant loss in base healing means that this is almost always a nerf, however. Next, his Q is receiving an increased crit damage scaling from 0.75 to 1.0, and his camouflage radius is going up from 400 to 500. Honestly, I didn't even know his Q could crit, but now we know. Finally, his ultimate slow duration is going down from 0.5 seconds to 0.25 seconds. Players are being pushed towards a build that utilizes more crit rather than on-hit effects, and this will make him relatively squishier. A big upcoming jungle change is for Mumu. His health per level is going down from 80 to 75, and the armor per level from 3.8 to 3.5. You've probably heard already, but Mumu's Q will also hold 2 charges. The damage is going down from 80 to 280 plus 70% AP to 70 to 190 plus 85% AP. This will include a static 3-second cooldown unaffected by ability haze and instead have a charge cooldown of 16 to 14 based on level. Next, his W's damage is being changed from 8 to 24 plus 1 to 2% plus 0.5% per 100 AP of his target's maximum HP to 12 to 28 plus 1 to 1.6 plus 0.5% per 100 AP of his target's maximum HP. That was really difficult to say, and this change is a slight buff in the early game and nerf in the late game. Finally, his ultimate stun duration will be reduced from 1.5 to 2 seconds to a flat 1.5. The increased utility of his Qs merit taking away power from other abilities. The fact that Mumu will be able to stun twice with his Q is huge. In addition, that's something close to double the damage early on, increasing Mumu's combat power prior to level 6. And I don't know about you guys, but I still won't be seeing him in my games, maybe because he's wrapped up in something or I just banned him in the champion select, you know. Anyway, next up is Echo. His passive damage against monsters is going up from 150% to 200%. While we expected mid lane Echo buffs, that's definitely not the case. Increased clear speed means that we can definitely expect him to pop off next patch. And I guess it could be a buff for mid lane Echo if he constantly takes your raptors. Before we move forward, let me also ask you our question of the day. Do you prefer playing champions that deal magic damage or physical damage, and why? I pick more AD champions because I'm more the type of player that loves to get in the opponent's face and fight head on. Typically more AD champions play like that, so it naturally fits my playstyle. Let me know your answers in the comments down below. The next jungle change is for Evelynn. Her ultimate's cooldown is going down from 140 to 80 to 120 to 80. Evelynn has been underperforming recently as a result of the shifting meta. A bunch of champions beat her in a 1v1 combat situation and simultaneously assert a ton of pressure on enemy laners. With a lower ultimate cooldown, Evelynn can go for big plays more often. In the early to mid game, a single kill is crucial to snowballing, and eventually winning and having access to her ultimate is a big deal. Alternatively, she can use this defensively and have it back up faster. While this probably won't have a significant increase in Evelynn's win rate, it's still a very nice buff. My theory is that she still can be really weak in this meta, and she's not going to be seeing a lot of play. And when she's finally back in the meta, she's going to be extremely bonkers, and then Riot's just going to nerf her again. That covers the jungle, so anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the mid lane next. Zed is expected to receive a nerf next patch. It's finally time, as he's been an oppressive force, keeping a ton of picks out of the meta and throwing a ton of shade. The nerfs begin with his buffs to his Q, but be patient. His Q's AD scaling is going up from 1 to 1.1. However, his E is going down from 0.8 to 0.65, and his ultimate's cooldown is going up from 120 to 60 to 120 to 80. More damage is on the ability that's harder to land, and let's be real, if you dodge a ZE, he probably missed. Dodging his Q will be a little bit more rewarding than before, and you'll also have to take less guaranteed damage from his E starting next patch. The increased cooldown on his ultimate at later levels also hurts quite a bit. Especially in the late game, you can basically expect Zed to always have his ultimate, because it's about a 20 or 25 second cooldown with some CDR as well as Ultimate Hunter. With the wait time increase, it'll definitely feel like the ability has a cooldown in the late game. Akshin is up for a change as well. His passive is receiving some bug fixes. The second attack will complete more consistently when attacking from max range, and it'll be a lot more accurately to predict if the first attack will kill the target. Here's a change plenty of players will love to hear. Akshin will no longer be able to claim scoundrels while dead. In other words, those post-mortem kills will no longer revive dead allies. Next is a change to his E. The damage is being changed from 30 to 130 plus 10% bonus AD to 30 to 110 plus 17.5% bonus AD. An incoming bug fix is that the ability will no longer end early on towers. What this change does is it makes Emax Akshin slightly weaker. While you can max the ability first, you'll suffer from a lost damage. In fact, Akshin's E will deal less damage in nearly every situation because you need about 266 AD to break even. Finally, his ultimate will be more consistently executing minions regardless of bonuses like Baron Nashor buff and Hullbreaker. Also, the cooldown when cancelled by crowd control or the enemy becoming untargetable is going down from 15 to 5 seconds. What do you guys think about these Akshin changes? Lysandra, on the other hand, is getting buffed next patch. It's small, but understandably so because she's already at a decent spot. Her AD is going up from 53 to 55, and her Q's mana cost is going down by 5 from 60 to 80 to 55 to 75. I don't expect that much change for Lysandra, but last hitting and clearing waves will be a lot easier than before. Moving forward, we have the bottom lane. So you know how they've been giving Xayah these small buffs and her win rate hasn't been moving? Well, this time, I think she's getting a real one. Her Q's cast time will scale with attack speed next patch. Instead of her casting 0.25 seconds, it'll scale up from 0.25 to 0.1 seconds based on how much attack speed that you have. Also, her ultimate damage is going up from 125 to 375 to 200 to 400. The ultimate buff makes her level 6 spike stronger, but I'm really interested in the Q change. It'll be nearly impossible to react to her Q in the late game with this change, but honestly, this is the sort of change that she needs to be relevant again. The Sentinels of Light are up for buffs next patch, beginning with Senna. Her attack speed ratio is going up from 0.4 to 0.45. Crit damage from 150% to 160%, and her passive soul rate dropped on minion kills is doubling from 4.16 to 8.3%. This is a bigger buff for ADC Senna, but support Senna also benefits from the increased scaling. She'll end up a more potent late game threat as a result, which is something I don't really want to see. Another set of huge adjustments are for Lucian. His base AD is going down from 64 to 62. Beginning those big changes is one to his passive. A new effect named Vigilance grants Lucian 14 plus 10% of his total AD as bonus magic damage whenever an ally grants him a buff. In addition, the maximum number of auto stacks is going up from 2 to 4. Next, his W's mana cost is going down from 70 to 60, and whenever an ally activates the mark, he'll activate Vigilance. Finally, his ultimate damage per shot is going down from 20 to 60 plus 25% AD to 15 to 45 plus 25% AD. However, the number of shots will now scale with crit chance. Instead of firing 22 to 34 shots, he'll fire 22 plus 25% of his critical strike chance. At his peak, that means he'll fire 47 shots. This is a huge boost to Lucian's damage output at all stages of the game. The loss of base AD makes him slightly weaker in the solo lanes, but his dual laning is significantly stronger than before. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up skyrocketing up the tier list. These are some pretty massive changes. Finally, we have some support changes. Leona is receiving a nerf this patch. I'm sure that many support mains are happy to hear that, as well as AD mains. Her W's bonus resistance is going down from 20 to 45 to 15 to 40. This should make it easier to actually fight back. When Leona players mess up, they'll take a bigger beating, and enemies that actually have done a good job of poking before committing to a fight will also have a better chance of actually finishing her off. Nami's up for a buff, and it's bigger than it looks. First, her health is going up from 475 to 490. In addition, her W's mana cost is going down from 70 to 130 to 70 to 110. Put these two buffs together, and Nami will be a much more potent threat during the laning phase. With that said, we've concluded the upcoming changes of patch 11.17. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below. Also, check out a link in the description and join our Discord, as I'd love to see you guys there. And as usual, be safe, be healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.